Hey guys, ask and you shall receive. Y'all wanted a guide on swap gauge and the burst gauge. And I guess we'll also talk about the ultimate gauge, how you get those, how to maximize those. So honestly, the tutorial log, go here, it kind of explains how it works, but it doesn't really. It's pretty general in how it works, with explaining it. Um, but yeah, so we're gonna go in. I'm where the bunny farm is right now, uh, right over here in Leonis. Um, so let me just spend my ult gauge and now also ult many. Yeah, okay. So you notice how when I ulted, I had a little bit remaining and my ult gauge depleted. Basically, if you don't fill a gauge up, it goes down. Now, how do you fill all of the gauges up, really? Just staying in combat. So you see, the moment I hit the bunnies, stayed in combat, the ult gauge started to fill. Now I'm gonna kill this group. And now notice after a few seconds, the ult gauge is gonna go down. So wait a bit. When I swap, it went down. Now on the left here, this is where your swap gauge is at. So let me just sponge it really quick. Okay. Now, similarly to the ult gauge, the way you get the swap gauge is basically just by attacking. Um, Now, when you swap, obviously you deplete one swap gauge to use the tag skill. And usually when you get a tag switch, a tag bar acquired, you'll hear that ta-dan sound. So pay attention when I get it. You heard that? That cha-ching sound? That's how you know you've gotten a swap gauge. And then you can just, when you're fighting, do your combos with Jericho, Melee, or whatever other team you are running. In terms of the burst gauge, um, basically it depends on which burst you're using. So any other burst, usually, well, besides light and dark, any other burst would just, you'll see the bar fill up. And then when it's full, you can, you get the bonuses, the buffs, whatever it is, that extra bit of damage on the enemies. And yeah, now in terms of the darkness burst, when you swap, you get you do more damage and you activate the darkness burst. And depending on what weapon type you have on, the ability is changed, but the darkness burst usually functions the same, where it doesn't start like full, but rather it depletes over time. So if we go for a second to the red demon, so I'm gonna fill the bar with Jericho, then swap to melee, and you'll see that it's not filled all the way through. So quickly build up. Now I've built the ice meter up, the ice burst, swap into melee, and you saw how it doesn't fill up all the way. Yeah, and then it also depletes over time, as with any other burst. And then usually characters with dark attribute are pretty nerfed when the enemy doesn't have a dark burst. So, for example, if I do my E right now, like it did decent damage and my Q, but you notice my Q didn't reset, my E didn't reset, and all of that. Now, let me just quickly reset. Okay, and now notice that when I use my abilities with melee, um, when the red demon has the dark burst active, um, he's gonna do significantly more damage and his abilities are gonna be refreshing. So Q, Q, and then, and we also do a lot more damage. Um, yeah, so that's how the darkness burst works. So you can see what the elements do. Um, yeah, so it just contributes, and then darkness cannot be charged. After you activate the burst, attacking with darkness will trigger the darkness burst. Um, darkness burst targets have their darkness defense reduced. So yeah, and then basically the other bursts are sort of the same, with minor effect changes. Nothing too crazy. So yeah. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything to go over. Um, not really. You do need to, let's say for example, if you are running like a burst heavy team, then Elaine is pretty good because of her passive, which is to Elaine. Um, uh, Restores 2 magic points when activating a burst, and the burst efficiency is stronger. And then she also buffs bursts in general, so that is pretty good. Now with the staff, I don't think she has anything for that, so yeah. And then Manny, I don't think she has burst buffs. Yeah, no. So Elaine, really good to get burst going. Um, so you can use her on your team, if you so choose. I've also noticed that like if you swap, you also charge the ult gauge a lot faster. So like, let's say I'm attacking, see how much filled up. So this is also a strategy you can use if you want to pre-charge your ult gauges. Say you're going for like an ult burst combo, the infamous melee bug one, which I don't really recommend you do, but like it is a thing. So yeah, you can do that, recharge the ult gauge, and then go for like a big burst, darkness burst ult. Um, and usually, specifically for Meliodas, when you do the combined ults, you usually refill the burst gauge. So that's gonna be it from me. Um, thank you guys for watching. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask away. Um, and I'll try help as much as I can. So I will see you next video.